So the big tax question is this: how do wealthy people keep their money working for them when selling their business, real estate, or other highly appreciated assets without paying hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars in tax? What if we, as business and real estate owners who have poured blood, sweat, and tears to growing our wealth, and who didn't hire expensive tax attorneys and CPAs to map out an exit strategy, knew their secrets? Instead of recreating the wheel, why can't we just model the way they deferred 30 to 50% in tax, paid off debt, funded their next business dream, and most importantly, leave a financial legacy to give to the causes we believe in most? What if their secrets weren't complicated at all, and you just need a guide who is a few steps ahead of you? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brett Swarts, and welcome to Capital Gains Tax Solutions. Welcome to the Build to Billions podcast, where we guide successful entrepreneurs and investors on their journey from millions to billions. We believe the key to scaling and compounding your wealth and life starts every single day with the mindset and practice of stewardship over ownership and applying billionaire biblical principles. Our ultimate goal is to help you scale and compound your wealth and life so you can give more all of it away to help MVPs. My name is Brett Swarts. Each and every episode, we're joined by the world's top entrepreneurs, millionaires, or billionaires, and they share their secrets and insights with us so we can all level up and make a bigger impact. I'm excited about our next guest. He's going to teach us about swing trading today, and he's going to teach us how to create some wealth that works with your career, not against it. He was living in the corporate nightmare. You may know all too well, 20 years as a director of training at a Fortune 500 telecommunications company, six-figure salary, corner office, all the external markers of success, but he was dying inside. Constant travel meant he was a stranger to his own family. He was burnt out at one point, and he really wanted to change his life. And that's where he started to do so much more about what he's going to teach us right now. Please welcome to the show with me, founder and CEO of Trader Foundation, Vlad Tayman. Vlad, how are we doing?
Good, man. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I tried to tee you up with that story there, but you could probably tell it a lot better than I could. So why don't we start there? Tell us a little bit more about your story and your current focus.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me on the show, man. And if anybody's listening, strongly recommend that you give Brett 5 stars on his podcast. I listened to a few of them. You give a lot of value. So I would love to see people spread the word, man. So thank you so much for that. But as far as, so I've been in a company for a little bit, had my company for 6 years. I will say a lot of people come to me for trading advice when it comes to specifically getting consistent gains, but it wasn't always like that. It all started for me a while ago now. It's been many years, but 26 years ago, I started at a corporate company where it was more of a situation where I was an immigrant. I was looking to really succeed, and came from Ukraine as a refugee. So it was really on me to make sure that I do something with my life. So, I graduated from high school and things like that. But at the end of the day, I needed to provide for myself, for my family. And I really went in hard on the corporate life. I was told that this is what it's about. And that's what I did. I was there for 20 years and I moved up quick. I made very good money. It was a happy story until around year 18, 17, when I started getting really a lot of health issues. And I mean, like getting dizzy at work to a point where I just start basically almost passing out, not knowing where I was at, kind of delirious. And it was a bad time. But one thing I learned in life at that time was, making a lot of money sometimes traps you more than anything, because you have to contain that lifestyle. And that's what happened to me. So I was looking for a way out. I tried different approaches to do that. So when I was in that world, I was looking for shortcuts, just because I'm so busy. I can't give up my job. I'm not going to give up my job at the time, making good money. So I tried quick day trading. They say 1 hour a day. Tried penny stocks. Tried different things. It just wasn't working. I tried, had somebody else trade for me that lost a lot of money for me. Nothing was really kind of cracking for me. And I made some money, but then I lost 3 times more. So eventually I had to find something that would work for me that's sustainable while still having a career, because I couldn't just leave a salary. And eventually I did come across certain swing trading strategies, not all, but certain ones where they were sustainable, where you could collect a pretty consistent amount of money if you do it right. And the key to it all was I had to get a mentor to really learn it. And that's really where it came down to. I didn't know myself what to do. I tried. I needed someone. I needed someone to say, hey, man, I'm watching these YouTube videos. They're free. I get it. But how come I have more questions than answers afterwards?
Got
So
it.
that's where I was at. It was just, I had no clarity. And I was fortunate enough after searching for my maybe 5-6 years to find somebody who could actually guide me in the right direction.
Excellent. And this is what we're talking about right now, everybody, which is swing trading, a swing trading system that you can build, works with your career, not against it. So, Vlad, what's the number one secret to swing trading? And first of all, let's define what that is and make sure everyone's on the same wavelength here. And then what's the number one secret to building wealth with swing trading?
Yeah, so swing trading, if a lot of people are very familiar with day trading, which is really kind of you trying to get the right amount of profits in a day. And if not, then you lose a lot. So it's almost, I don't want to say gamble, but it's very similar to gambling because you're all in or out. Swing trading expands the timeline. So what it does is you could do swing trading on 2 to 3 days, or you could do it for a month or 2 months. And the cool thing about that type of approach through swing trading is you don't always have to be right initially to make money. In fact, a lot of people maybe lose a little the first day or two, especially when you get started. But because you have so much time, because you have so much, that's really what it comes down to. And understanding, number one, how to read the charts, how to understand the psychology instead of just reading the news. And number two, buying long term. Long term is key because even if you have it wrong as an investment, you could always come back to it.
Okay, got it. What's the number two secret?
Well, number two, honestly, is this selling portion. So a lot of people really try to buy stocks and buy options and things like that. What we've learned is, if number one, if you build a foundation, you understand how stocks work, how it moves, things like that. The second piece to it is scaling it with options, meaning you don't need to have that much money to do it. And then the proper strategy that works with your job. So for example, being able to set up your strategy one time a week and let it just go and have an automatic exit. So it doesn't take long. It's very simple to do, but you just have to make sure, number one, you have the foundation of how to do it, have the options to do it, and then eventually learn how to sell options, meaning you'll actually collect a paycheck from the market, which is a huge deal because at the end of the day, you don't have to gamble.
Okay, excellent. So scaling with options and learning how to sell, and then really the key is the strategy that works with your job, where you can, it's not overwhelming you. You're going in, periodically, maybe once a week to set everything up. Is that a fair summary so far?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, great. What's the number three secret to building wealth with all of these things?
So it's pretty simple to do, but it sounds simple, very simple steps. The reason people fail, it's like playing golf. I could show you how to swing everything, but it comes down to mentorship. So when it comes down to, hey, do you have somebody there to actually guide you along the way? Because what happens is people learn strategies. We have a couple strategies we teach and they're great, but everybody teaches strategies. But is somebody there, human being, who's going to say, hey, let's slow it down. Now that you know how to swing the golf club, I want to see you get in that market. I want to see you, and we utilize a time machine back testing tool to see you do these things and see where you're failing. We expose your failures as soon as possible, your weaknesses, so we could address them immediately. So when you're trading real money, you're ready.
That makes perfect sense, right? I think it's the application and the organization of the information that you need a mentor who's been in the trenches, who's made the mistakes, who's made the victories, right? That can help you, guide you through this. I could say, Vlad, maybe you spent 10,000 hours doing what you do, so we only have to spend 2 hours, right? And so that expertise, those hours cannot be replicated. Okay, what's the next kind of secret part of the process once you have the mentor, once you're getting some of the training, once you're taking action on what you're learning? What's the next step?
So once you really understand it, once you get and you really have that gut feeling that one, I know how the stock market moves. I have the psychology. I have the technical knowledge of what to do. Now we got and then we learn how to scale it. We have to kind of look at it. Okay, well, from here on out, now what do we do to even make the process even faster? So this is where we take you into a community of people, including coaches. So we have like world-renowned coaches who've been doing this, who learned our system, been successful over the years, now are teaching. They are also providing their stock plays. They're providing their key factors. Now, this is very important. People understand. A lot of people want stock signals. That's not what we do. A lot of times people get stock signals. What happens with stock signals is you're basically you're taking someone's play, trying to copy it. The reason this happens is people don't want to teach. They just want to give and say, and they might be great plays, but a good trader who's not a good trainer and doesn't really show it doesn't understand. Like somebody could be in a good play. You might be profitable, but I don't know what to do. So we show you exactly why the play is there. So we go over maybe 5 to 7 strong plays for the week. That way you don't have to do the work. You just have to analyze it with us and be okay with it. You should agree that these plays are good instead of just going blindly. And if that happens, now you got yourself a list of plays you could do every single week, no problems, and you know how to set it up and you have the why behind it. Now, if the play is going against you or anything like that, there's a community there to help you and say, okay, guys, we did this play. We're down 15% right now. Here's what to do next. We're always holding your hand at every point.
Excellent. That's fantastic. By the way, if people want to learn more about Vlad, you can check him out by going to, is it traderfoundation.co? Tradingfoundation.co? Yep.
Traderfoundation.co. Yep.
Excellent. Okay, Vlad, what question haven't I asked you so far that we want to make sure we cover?
Well, the big thing is a lot of people ask, how safe is it? Right? That's the big one. How safe are these strategies? I mean, let's be honest. It's trading. It's things like that. So one of the things we always explain to people, when you're learning how to trade, you need to know what happens when you're losing. What happens if you're in a loss? This is one of the big things where people kind of freak out because everybody shows their wins, but no one shows their losses. Managing your losses is probably the biggest thing. And we teach you how you could take a loss and turn it into a win. One, by giving us enough time. Two, understanding there's a checklist. And this is the big thing we do in our academy, because that's where we are. We're really an academy where we're going to take you by the hand. We're going to teach you the foundation, then we're going to give you a checklist. 6 things you have to follow. Every trade, you just check them off. In fact, people always ask, well, what if I'm not profitable? We tell you like this in writing: if you're not profitable, we'll refund you. There should be a 70% win rate for you. And the catch is that it's got to be the rules that we give. Most people, they follow the rules in the beginning, make money, and then they kind of stray away from some of them. Just human nature, false sense of confidence. You got to follow the rules. So usually every time we've had anybody who followed the rules, we've never had to use that refund for a reason. And that is part of the reason why we're very picky with people who are disciplined. You got to be able to be disciplined to follow the rules and not be a gambler. So
that makes sense. Okay, excellent. And okay, what other questions haven't I asked you so far to make sure we should bring to everyone's attention on this?
I think the biggest one also is, what if I'm not smart enough to do this? I have a career, I got all these things going on. So I will tell you this: if you're in a career, most people that we deal with are either career or looking for retirement. The biggest thing is most people don't think they're smart enough to do this. One, because they've tried it, but they didn't realize they didn't have the right resources. They didn't have somebody there to really help them. Two is the fact that there's just not the proper program. and they're just trying to take shortcuts. So what we do is we tell, look, the one thing we guarantee you, we will not stop working with you until you get it. We've never had anybody who leaves the program who doesn't get it. And part of it is I've been a training director for 20 years. So I'm a trader who happens to be a professional trader and a trainer. So I could do both. And that's what we do is break things down to most simplest form that you could understand. And we've not, like I said, if you most places teach you strategy, we teach you the foundation first and then strategy. We don't give you chapter 9 before we give you chapters 1 through 8.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. You're holding a hand, you're coaching up, you're holding them accountable, and you're helping them build the wealth with the strategy. What about capital gains tax? You know, so people do you tend to have trades or holds that are greater than a year, or have large, you know, potential massive taxes on the exits? What do you think about that, Vlad?
Good question. So a lot of people who really get into this, um, a lot of those things go for day trading, even swing trading, depending on the plays, because you're looking for big gains. However, when we're looking, once you really understand these strategies, we go to something called selling strategies, which means you're collecting premiums. You know the exact amount you're getting. So because of that, you really have a predictable amount of what you're going to make, because you're collecting a lot of people don't understand that concept, but it's pretty simple. Once you get it, you're able to know that the minute you click the button, you're going to get $400 or $500 in your account, whatever, and then they put a hold on your money. Pretty simple. So when it comes to actual taxes, things like, I'm not an accountant, I can't tell you exactly that, everybody's situation is different, but I will say that from just our clients, there is a consistency, and they understand the flow of how much they're going to make, and they control it pretty well, instead of just today I'm up, tomorrow I'm down. We've had people who are day traders come to us, and they would talk about crazy things, like they'll be up and then they'll try to go down because just to save money. So we don't really get involved. We just focus on, let's get you to 10 to 12% gains every single month. So now you know exactly what your accountant could tell you and what's going to happen if that's the case. And if they want to increase it, again, more money you put in, the more you could make when it comes to selling strategies. So, but it's consistent, and that's what's the key there.
Excellent. That's a good time for to tell you a little bit about our listeners out there. The show is brought to you by Capital Gains Tax Solutions. We exist to unlock capital gains to multiply freedom and impact on the sale of highly appreciated stocks, businesses, Bitcoin. Massive exits to defer that tax is the big thing to be able to do, because it's an extra 20 to 50% working for you. I founded the company a few years ago, and we help business owners, real estate owners, stock, Bitcoin owners exit well, exit smart by deferring that capital gains tax. You do need to set it up before you exit. Go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to learn more about all of that. That being said, Vlad, we're way out of time. Are you ready for the lightning round?
Yes, sir.
All right, knowing what you know now, if you go back to your 20-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget make sure to tell yourself to do?
I'm sorry, can you repeat? You broke up a little bit.
The golden nugget. If you go back to your 20-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget you wanted to make sure to tell yourself to do?
Patience. Be patient with what you're doing. And if you're not succeeding in the beginning, continue going and persevere, and don't start something else until you get to where you want to go.
Excellent. And question number 2, what's the number one book you've recommended the most in the past year that you've liked or read?
Ooh, the number one book. I would say I'm going to say the Fearless Leadership was a really good book I read recently by Loretta Melandro.
Awesome. Love it. Question number 3, what are you most curious about right now?
The biggest thing I think I'm curious right now is what's going to happen with our current environment when it comes to AI. There's a lot of people that we talk to who are scared of losing their jobs, scared of what's happening, and I personally love AI, but the fear of people that are like, hey, what am I gonna do right now because of this? That's really been a lot on my mind, like, because believe it or not, people are white collar workers and blue collar workers, and we have AI now building buildings, so there's a lot of jobs being on the line, and it's being very direct from companies that they're going to lose them. So there's a lot of fear. What are they? Do you have the plan to do it? And I'm always thinking, what's going to happen? What's this alternative?
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Next question. What's your number one leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by?
I would say success the ultimate success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And basically meaning that you could make money, you could be very successful, you could be the top of the food chain, but doesn't mean you're necessarily fulfilled if you don't have a balanced life. So we are, that's something I try to live by.
Absolutely. Yeah, known as like true wealth, right? What true wealth, right?
Mhm.
What are you doing for the financial freedom? But hopefully it's unlocking wealth with your family and for impact and living the life that you are called to live. Love that. Last question, and we'll wrap it up, Vlad, which is all about stewardship over ownership. So how do you best keep a mindset of stewardship over ownership, knowing that everything we've been given is a gift from God, and it's a given to us to be a blessing and a help to others?
I think every morning something I do is a moment of gratitude. I stopped for 10 minutes, do a meditation, and just really thank God for just having my family, my daughter, my wife, my house, the company I have. Being able to give back every single day is a blessing to me, and I'm always make sure to stay humble to that, because that's at the end of the day the most important thing. Everything else is a side effect.
Amazing. Thanks, Vlad, for being on the show. I want to encourage you to keep using your gifts to help people create wealth with swing trading and diversify their income streams and be able to get some financial freedom. For our listeners who want to get in touch with you and for your services, could you remind them one last time, what's the best place for them to find you?
Traderfoundation.co.
Perfect. Thanks, Vlad. I also want to thank all of our listeners for listening and or viewing another episode of the Build to Billions podcast. We're also streaming on Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast and YouTube channels. And we're here on this journey with you to scale from millions to billions. So we give more all of it away to help MVPs, the most vulnerable people. My name is Brett Swarts, and I want to encourage you to take action today with Vlad to get started, to be able to maybe diversify your income streams with investing. And on this side, if you're exiting a highly appreciated asset, I want you to consider contacting us at capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to build a capital gains tax exit plan. We also wrote a book on it called Building a Capital Gains Tax Exit Plan. And it helps you to build a plan to land the plane of the investments, whether it be stock, businesses, Bitcoin, defer that tax, compound and multiply what you would have just paid in tax. capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Learn all about that. Appreciate you listening or watching out there, and we'll talk to you all again real soon. Bye now.
You have just listened to another information-packed episode of Capital Gains Tax Solutions with Brett Swarts. We hope you enjoyed today's show and found it helpful. Visit capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to access the show notes and to access more resources. Don't forget to leave a review and join us again next time.